Alright, so our map is comparing employees by state accurately now, which is great. But what would be even better is if we could also compare average wages by state and switch between both views. And believe it or not, there is a way that we can accomplish this. But before we even start thinking about how to do it, we do need to calculate the average wages for each state. So let's start by doing that. We need the average wages. Let's make this a little bit bigger, give ourselves some space. And remember, since these are going to be conditional averages, we need average ifs, right? And by now you should be pretty familiar or comfortable writing these functions, but let's walk through it. So we're going to need the average annual wage when the industry is equal to the industry selected, which we want to fix, and whenever the year is equal to the current year, which we will also fix, and whenever the state is equal to this state right here, which we don't need to fix. Close out our formula, press enter. We can apply formatting, so Control 1, currency, no decimal places, press OK, and let's apply this down. Alright, so now we've got our employees per 1,000 capita and our average wages by state. So what happens if we simply add this series to our map? So I'm going to select the map, go over here to our series, and let's see if we can just simply drag from the corner here so that we're selecting both metrics. Let's go back up, and it looks like nothing really changed. We're still just showing employees per 1,000 capita. So apparently the map can only show one series at a time. So what can we do? Well, I'm going to start by undoing, just so that I'm only selecting my employees per 1,000 capita. And let's think about how we can solve this for a second. Well, if our map can only take one series at a time, what if we add a new column that will either take the value of the employees per 1,000 capita or the average wage, depending on whatever metric we select? So let's start by adding another filter here, and I'm just going to drag my chart down a little bit. I know it's a little bit messy now, but don't worry, we are about to pull these from here and into our dashboard, and add a map filter where we want to be able to select by metric. And the metrics that we want to choose from, let's add a data validation list, are these two metrics right here. Press OK. And it looks like our drop down is working. Now let's just apply some quick formatting. So that's working perfectly. And now what we can do is add our new column, make the header equal to our metric selected, which is this one, and write a simple if function. So let's start by if, and if the metric selected, and I'm going to fix that with F4 since it's always going to live there, is equal to average wages, which we can write directly or just reference this value here, again fixed. Then we want to return this number here, so the average wages for this state, which we will leave relative because we do want this to move down state by state. Now if this is not equal to average wages, then we want to return the employees per 1,000 capita, again relative, so that it moves down with our formula. Close this out, press enter, apply this down, and it looks like our average wages are coming through properly. Let's try the employees per 1,000 capita, and that is working as well. So let's just copy the formatting over here. And there we go. So now what we can do is change the series that our map is referencing from this fixed employees per 1,000 capita column to our new dynamically selected column. And you'll see that since we do have employees per capita right now, the map is basically the same. But if we switch our metric here to average wages, then we get a completely different story. So this is working almost perfectly now. We can switch between the series, and our industry selector still works for both of our metrics, but it is hard to tell which metric we're actually looking at any point in time. What would be really cool is if the color of the map changed depending on the selection. And there is a way that we can pull this off. So if I go to edit the series in my map here, you'll see that in the series options, right now we're applying a sequential color scale. But there is another option that allows us to use a diverging color scale, which basically allows us to use two different colors at the ends of the spectrum and a more neutral, even white color in between. And let me make this a little bit wider just so we can see everything in here. So all we have to do now is split up the annual wage and employee per capita values so that the values for one metric always fall on one end of the color scale, and the values for the other metric always fall on the other end of the color scale. Can you think of a way to do this? Here's a tip. We can use negative values for one metric and positive values for the other, and then just make this midpoint equal to a number, which is 0. So let's go back to our if formula, press F2 to edit, make one of these negative, annual wages in this case, press enter, apply the formula down, and you'll see that right now we are looking at employees per capita. So two things. A, all of these numbers are positive, and B, because they're all positive or higher than 0, then my color scale is from white to blue. But if we change the metric from employees per 1,000 capita to average wages, check this out. Now, since all of these numbers are negative, we have a scale from white to orange. Now for the cherry on top, remember that I mentioned that custom number formats allow you to set a separate format for positive and negative values? We'll check this out. If we select the values in this column here, press Ctrl+1 to edit the formatting, go to our custom number format, and I'm going to delete this. So since the employees per capita are always going to be positive, we can use any formatting. Let's select this regular number format. And if we press a semicolon, now Excel is asking us how we want to format our negative values, which are average wages. So we can copy this formatting here, add a $sign first, paste that in there. So we have our positive and negative formats. Press OK. And you'll see that we get this formatting for the average wages. We were even able to get rid of the negative sign. And if we change this to the employees per 1,000 capita, we get this standard number format. Now you may have also noticed that we're getting blue fills in Alaska and Hawaii here, where, as you know, we have no data. What we can do is simply right-click, format the data series, and change the standard fill color to a white. And what that's going to do is make any state or fill in any location that doesn't have any data with that color. So that kind of disappeared our Alaska and Hawaii states. Let's close this, check that everything is still working. And there we go. Now we can toggle between metrics in our map here with a distinct color for each metric so that we can make even more detailed comparisons across industries. And that actually wraps up our final visual for the dashboard. So next up, it's time to actually start putting the layout together to get rid of this jumbled mess. So I hope you're excited.